Hey guys, it's Tiff and welcome back to my channel. You already know what today's video is, so I do not need to tell you twice. What is up? Let's get into this. I'm honestly so excited to film this video. I've never done a video like this on my channel, and just have to say, I have planned out the whole rest of this year's videos, and this will not be the last one like this, so if you like this and you're not subscribed, subscribe. Anyways, let's get into this. Okay, first, let's just get right on into what my tiers are and why are my tiers the way that they are. Okay, why are they that way? So at the bottom we have literally wish I never read. These are books that I genuinely wish that I did not waste my time reading, okay? And then we have forgot I read. Simple as that. It means what it says. I forgot that I read this. Doesn't mean it was a bad book, it just means that I forgot I read it. And then we have you were good, I was waiting for you to be great. If you know, you know. But these are basically just gonna be books that are anywhere from like 3 to 4 stars, in that range. Like, we'll get into it with each book, but you know. And then we have you hold a special place in my heart. These are going to be 4.5, 4.75, 5-star reads, books that I absolutely love, always hold near and dear to my soul. And then lastly at the top, we have I will never stop talking about you. These are books that are like my 6-star reads, maybe some 5 stars here, but these are books that I genuinely love with such a strong passion that I will never stop talking about them and I will never stop recommending them because I love them that much. So with that being said, let's get into it. I kind of arranged all the books as much in the order as I read them in as possible. These aren't just books from this year. These are all the books I've read since I started reading last August. I just want to say happy 1-year anniversary to me because I started reading a year ago yesterday. This is like a little anniversary video, if you will. Okay, getting right on into this. The first book that I ever read that got me into reading, this is literally the book that sparked this whole entire love of reading and has brought me to where we are a year later, and that is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I genuinely love this book. This book I will never stop talking about. I love Harry Potter. I've only read the first book so far, but I plan on finishing the entire series this fall, and I'm so excited because I just love the universe. I love everything about Harry Potter, and it is just such a magical, wonderful universe that I love to just immerse myself in. So I will never stop talking about you. Perfection is the only place that belongs. And then next we have The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. This is the first ever romance book I've ever read, and I will say this holds a special place in my heart. I love this book so much. This book just increased my love for reading, and I immediately went into The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa. Like, I'm telling you, I finished The Worst Best Man and went and got the second one. This book, I will never stop talking about you. Perfection. I love this book so much. There is not a single part of me that does not love that book. Mia Sosa is truly one of my favorite authors. She's the one who sparked the love for reading romance, and I just love her books. She's coming out with a new one next year, and I'm not even kidding. I'm gonna be in her DMs begging for an arc, and you'll know if I get it, but I'm gonna be begging for it. And then next I read The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. You will hold a special place in my heart. You hold a special place in my heart. I just loved this book. The Christmas vibes I got from it was so good. The romance aspect of it, and they're twins, and it's following both of them, so you're getting 2 completely different romances in one, and I was obsessed with it. It was so good. It literally felt like a Hallmark Christmas movie in a book. And then moving on, we have It Ends With Us, and obviously It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. It Ends With Us, I would put in You Were Good, I Was Waiting For You to Be Great. I really liked this book while I was reading it, but looking back, I don't love it as much as I did in the moment. Like, looking back, I don't think I would rate it as highly as I did. It was a good book, don't get me wrong, and I completely understand the hype. I just don't think that it's that near and dear to my heart. And then It Starts With Us. Honestly, I forgot I read this until I literally went and looked at the list of books I read. Not that it was a bad book, but I feel like I could have done without it. Like, did I enjoy it? Yeah. Did I enjoy reading about Atlas and Lily and getting to see that side of things? Yeah. But did I need it? No. And then next we have Bad Girl Reputation. I also forgot I read this. I think I rated this a 3 stars. It was a good book. It was entertaining. I had fun while reading it, but it's not a book that I ever think about literally ever. I genuinely forgot I read it. I forget that I even have it until I just randomly see it on my bookshelf, which I think it's over here. And then we have There's Something About Mary. You Will Hold a Special Place in My Heart. Why do I keep saying will? You hold a special place in my heart. I really loved this book. If you know me, you already know I love Christmas, so I would have to assume every single Christmas book I read, I'm gonna rate it pretty highly because the Christmas vibes just do so much for me. And I loved this storyline. It's like a single dad, small town romance, and I just really liked it. It was such a fun read. And then we have Something from Tiffany's by Melissa Hill. This also holds a special place in my heart. I love this book. It just felt like one of those fairy tales where everything has to go wrong in order for the right thing to happen, and it was so sweet and wholesome, and I just loved it. Okay, this was the first read of the year. Okay, the very first book I read in January was City of Endless Night by Preston and Child. Yeah, I just want you to watch where this is going. Wow, okay, so basically, long story short, me and Makai were at Barnes. I was telling him that I wanted to start reading some mystery thrillers, but I didn't want to read one that was gonna scare me to the point, like, of me being way too scared. And this guy randomly was like, oh, you should read a Preston and Child book. They're so good. I've read so many of them. I love every single one. And so I picked up a random one, thought the synopsis sounded really interesting, and so I got it, and then I read it, and I really didn't like it. I'm not gonna say if you do like it that that's a problem, because everyone's opinion is different. I personally genuinely disliked it that much. And then we have The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This holds a special place in my heart. I loved this book. This was a 5-star read for me, and it still is. I still love it. I love the writing style. Reading this book was such a fun time, but it was also a very emotional time. Let me say, it was very emotional, but I loved it so much. Okay, moving on, we have Murdered at 17. I want to preface, before I put it in its category, that I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I rated this book very highly. When I first read it, I rated it a 5 stars. Looking back, I'd probably only rated a 4-star. I really liked it. It was a very good book. With that being said though, I do forget that I read this quite frequently. I'm like, oh yeah, I read that. Moving on, we have Love in Other Words. We all know about this book, okay? This holds a special place in my heart. I genuinely love this book so much. I don't think about it very frequently, but when I do, I'm like, man, that was a really good book. And then we have Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. You guys, if you are not new here, you already know where this is going. And if you don't, I'm about to tell you. Magnolia Parks, I will never stop talking about you. Perfection. I cannot wait to finish this series because I genuinely loved the first one so much. There is not enough words to describe how much I love this book. Now we have Normal People. Okay, I want to preface by saying this is technically a DNF, but I only had 60 pages left of this book at the point of the DNF. So I'm gonna count that I read it because I basically read the whole thing, okay? Literally wish I never read. I have such a hatred for this book, okay? And if you like it, that is totally fine, and I am happy that you enjoyed it. Probably the least favorite book I've ever read. So that's enough of that. Moving on, we have Rush by My Banks. You were good. I was waiting for you to be great. There was just a specific scene in this book that I genuinely didn't like. It just genuinely made me feel icky and uncomfortable, and I was not enjoying reading it. But other than that part, I did really enjoy the story. Next, we have Archer's Voice. Okay, don't hate me for where I'm gonna put this, okay? Because genuinely, I did really enjoy this book, but looking back, I don't love it as much as I did, and I do sometimes forget about it. So for that, you were good. I was waiting for you to be great. Not that it wasn't good, okay? This is not a bad column to be in. It's just not something that stuck with me. It's not something that I would sit here and rave to you about. It was a good book and I will still recommend it, but it's just not the best thing I've ever read. And then we have The Way I Used to Be. This holds a special place in my heart. This story is so good. It is such an emotional story because it is about a girl who gets raped by her brother's best friend, but the way this story was done was genuinely just so incredible to me. I think this author did an absolutely incredible job of highlighting how the trauma of that event affects her throughout her whole high school career and just shapes her into the person that she becomes. This is a book that I genuinely would recommend to anyone to read because it is about such a heavy topic, but it is an important topic, and I think this book was done incredibly. Now we have If He Had Been With Me. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I do sometimes forget I read this, okay? Not because it was bad. I did really enjoy this book, but it just didn't stick with me. Moving on, we have Just a Little Hookup by Carly Phillips and Erica Wilde. This is a book that I just downloaded on my phone. It was pretty short, but I did enjoy it. I do, though, forget that I read it. Next, we have The Perfect Marriage. I'm gonna put this in the You Were Good, I Was Waiting for You to Be Great. I think this book was great, but not great on the level where it holds a special place in my heart. I think this story was amazing. I loved reading it. It's not something I often think about. It doesn't hold a special place in my heart, but it was a very good book and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then after reading that, I was like, I need another kind of like mystery thriller. So I read The Lake by Natasha Preston, and I will never stop talking about this book. This book was so good. The ending of this book, I've said it so many times and I will say it again. The ending of this book was an absolute masterpiece, and Natasha Preston is crazy for that. And then we have Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted Lies. The Twisted series, I read these back to back. That is actually a reading vlog if you want to watch that. But man, this series honestly did kind of change reading for me because of how much I loved it, and the writing of it was just I just loved it. So Twisted Love, we're gonna put You Hold a Special Place in My Heart. Twisted Games, I Will Never Stop Talking About You. You Are Perfection. Twisted Hate, I Will Never Stop Talking About You. You Are Perfection. Honestly, Twisted Lies, You Were Good, I Was Waiting for You to Be Great. And let me explain each and every one of these. Okay, Twisted Love, the first in the series, I really loved the story. I loved Alex and Ava. There's a scene in this where he sings and everyone says they were cringing at it, but I literally thought it was so sweet because he always said he never would do that. So when he did, I thought it was so sweet. So when I kept seeing people say they were cringing at it, I was like, that's funny, because I kind of really loved that part. But anyways, Twisted Games and Twisted Hate, my two favorites from the series. They are so good. Twisted Games is my favorite from the series. The book is just incredible. I absolutely loved it. Loved the whole bodyguard, princess slash queen kind of trope of it all. Bridget is my favorite of all the Twisted girls. She is just impeccable and I love her. And Twisted Hate, I just love them so much. You know, okay, we're gonna make a slight change. I'm gonna put Twisted Hate and You Hold a Special Place in My Heart because I don't think that I love it on the same level as I love Twisted Games. With that being said, if you know, you know, Josh is my favorite of the men and he's in Twisted Hate, but book in general, Twisted Games is better in my opinion. And then Twisted Lies kind of let me down. I think she wrapped up the series with that beautifully, but Stella and Christian were my least favorite couple. They were my least favorite individuals from the series. I just didn't enjoy that storyline as much as the other three, and so that was my lowest rated one, which I think is kind of surprising because a lot of people, that is their favorite one, but for me, it was my least favorite. Then we have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This will always hold a special place in my heart. It is such a good book. This is a 5-star read for me. I love this. Haley Pham actually picked this for me to read in my booktubers choose my reads for a week video, and I love this book. It is so sweet. It is so wholesome. It's fake dating, which is my favorite trope. Oh my god, I love that trope. But this book is just so sweet. It's such a good read. This is a book that I will literally always recommend to anyone. It was everything reading that book, truly. And then we have By Thread by Lucy Score. Now, if you know, you know. And if you don't, you're about to know. This is my favorite book that I have ever read. Thank you to Miss Sarah because she chose it for me to read in my booktubers choose my reads for a week video. And without her choosing this book for me to read, I would have never found the love that I have for this book. There's not enough words. I can't form sentences talking about this book because I love it so much and it just makes my mind go completely jumbled. Everything I could have ever needed in a story, it was there and I loved it and it was amazing. Yeah, Sarah, if you're watching this, literally thank you for making me read that book because I truly have you to thank for the fact that I found my favorite ever book. Moving on, we have Son of a Beach by Mia Sosa. I honestly forget that I read this. It's a novella she just came out with this summer and I really enjoyed the story. It was so fun, all the summery vibes. I really enjoyed it. And like I said earlier, she's one of my favorite authors, but I just often forget that I read this. Like I genuinely just don't remember that I read it. Moving on, we have The Love Hypothesis by Allie Hazelwood. This was also in that booktubers choose my reads. Alexa Ray chose this for me and I Will Never Stop Talking About You. Perfection. Olive and Adam are one of my all-time favorite book couples. I genuinely loved this book so much. It was so wholesome and I just loved it. I loved watching all of their interactions and their banter. Their love story is just beautiful and I truly love this book with everything in me and I will never shut up about it. And then we have Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter. You Were Good, I Was Waiting for You to Be Great. I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was fun, but I wasn't super invested in the characters or super invested in the story. I did kind of have very high expectations for it and it just did not meet those, but it was still a really fun book and I really enjoyed it. Next we have The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. This is the second to Mr. Wrong Number. So I read this immediately after finishing Mr. Wrong Number and this book holds a special place in my heart. I loved this book. I loved the couple in this book so much and I loved the story. After reading Mr. Wrong Number, I didn't think I was gonna love it that much, but oh my god, did I love it. And then we have Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire. I honestly forget that I read this. I think it was a good book. I really enjoyed it while I was reading. I think I gave this like a 4 stars, maybe a 3.5, and I still stand by that, okay? I really do still stand by that. I think it was a good book, but I do be forgetting that I read that book. Next, we have Flawless by Elsie Silver, and I know this is about to be an unpopular opinion, so please don't come for me down down in the comments. But You Were Good, I Was Waiting for You to Be Great. I rated this a 3.5 stars, but honestly, I think I was being too nice. I would only rate it a 3-star. Here's my thing with this book. I thought it was a fun story. Okay, I was not convinced at all, not in the slightest bit, that these people genuinely liked each other. It felt like they only wanted to have sex, in my opinion. I am still gonna continue the rest of the series because I have all of them. And then we have The Summer I Turned Pretty, You Were Good, I Was Waiting for You to Be Great. Again, another book that just let me down because it's so highly rated by so many people. So many people love it, but I had watched the show before reading the book, so the book just kind of not fell flat, but it didn't live up to what I thought it was gonna be based off the show. So for that, You Were Good, but I Was Waiting for You to Be Great. Moving on to Carry Me Through Christmas by Rachel Holm. Wow, really loved this book. This was actually in a recent reading vlog, so if you haven't already seen my 24-hour readathon, that was in there, so you can see my full review of that book and the following 3 books I'm gonna talk about in that video. But I loved this book. I cried multiple times while reading this. It gave me such good vibes. I just really loved it. Heavy as the Crown by Lindsay J. This is a book I got from my Kindle for free with my credits, but it's originally only $1.99, and I will never stop talking about this. It is perfection. This is literally such a good book. One of my favorite books I have ever read in my entire life. The story, it was just so good. I literally forced my sister to read this book. It's just so good. And then we have You Will Be Mine by Natasha Preston. You Were Good, I Was Waiting for You to Be Great. I really enjoyed the story, but I will say I was a little let down because I guessed who the killer was very early on. It was not a plot twist for me, but I love her writing and I love her books, and I will continue to read her books. And then we have The Serpent and Wings of Night. We're gonna put this in You Were Good, I Was Waiting for You to Be Great. Listen, okay, listen. Out of all the books in this category, this is probably my favorite in this category so far. I really enjoyed this book. I loved the story. I loved the subplot of romance we got. I thought they were so cute. I do still plan on reading the second one, even though I've heard a lot of people say that the second one is not very good, which is kind of disappointing. It just doesn't hold a special place in my heart. It wasn't that good, but genuinely, I did really enjoy this book. It was very good, and I would still recommend it to people, especially if you're a fantasy person and you like vampires. I really think you would enjoy that book. Then we have It's Not Summer Without You. Again, You Were Good, I Was Waiting for You to Be Great. Again, just going back to the first one, I feel like I had high expectations. I don't know, just something about it and something about the writing, it just didn't do it for me, but I do really love the show. The books are just not my fave. And then the last book on our list is actually a book I finished last night, which is The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. Okay, I'm gonna put this in You Were Good, I Was Waiting for You to Be Great. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was a very fun read. This was my book club book of the month, which if you haven't joined my book club and you did not know I started one, I started a book club and it's on Fable. I'm probably gonna do a whole video soon talking about it because I know a lot of people still probably don't know about it, but I did start a book club and that was our book club book of the month. So if you want to join, the link's below. But anyways, I did really enjoy this story. I thought they were very cute, but it's not something I don't think I'll ever really like think about. It's not something that's gonna stick with me, but it was fun and I would still recommend it to people to read because it was a very good book, but I was waiting for it to be great. That is all the books. This is my tier ranking. Looks like we're kind of even. We have the exact same amount of books in You Hold a Special Place in My Heart and You Were Good, but I Was Waiting for You to Be Great. I love my little top row. Every single book in there I would highly recommend to anyone. Same with the second row. I would still recommend the books in the third row. They're just not my favorites, not something I'm gonna continue to think about. And then obviously we have the Forgot I Read and Literally Wish I Never Read. That's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was honestly really fun and I can't wait to do more of these. But if you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already, because we have a lot of fun over here and we want you to join the fun. With that being said, I love you guys so much. If you are still listening to me talk at this point in the video, comment down below the little shooting star emoji, I think is what it is. I don't know, it's my favorite emoji, so comment that down below if you got to this point. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. When I tell you guys that I literally just had to change my battery back and forth so many times because they were both dead, I'm not kidding. But it's done, we did it, woo!